reminded of the Kenyan Nobel laureate Wangari Maathai, who started the Greenbelt movement. In 1977, she planted 7 trees with 2 other women. By 2004, she had planted 30 million trees. Now, she didn't set out to change the world, and she didn't set out to plant 30 million trees. She planted 7 trees with 2 other women, and that's all it took to start that process. So change doesn't really happen by scaling up, in my opinion. Change happens, ideas happen horizontally, and they scale then across networks. And eventually they emerge almost full-blown as a paradigm shift. I mean, change really happens when a few individuals drop out. And we've got some of those here in Bend. There's a few of them. Does anybody know Paul Schmitz? Yeah, Paul's one of these guys. Dropped out of the existing system, right? And he started thinking and learning and experimenting. And a lot of times these guys are kind of odd, right? There's a few of them in the room, right? You don't have to raise your hand. But we're sort of drawn to this, right? And they're drawn to each other. And when that happens, they begin to learn and experiment together, and pretty soon that kind of energy draws other people into it. And other people drop out and connect. And as this happens, you know, some of this sort of more conservative elements begin to join in, because there's an energy behind these ideas. I was thinking, you know, Bend has a bunch of sort of what I call underground, badass agents of change. You know? I mean, that's what it takes, is some badass agents of change. I was thinking about Bob Claridge the other day. Did anybody know Bob? Yeah, I mean, Bob's been doing, you know, HVAC stuff here in Bend for 30 years. And you look at the guy and you'd never think. But when he cut loose on this project, I mean, this guy is badass. He was just, he had ideas coming out, you know, to the gazoo. It was amazing, the creativity that he brought and the energy he brought to this project. And sooner or later that becomes a critical mass, and it drops back in, and the old system is supplanted, and it tries desperately to keep its place, but the fact is it's been replaced by a new paradigm, and that's what we're doing. That's what this kind of behavior change is doing right here in Bend, Oregon. I mean, the fact is there really is no road, right? You make the road by walking it. And that's what we're doing. That's what these people surrounding this room are doing. That's what many of you all are doing, is making the road by walking it. You know, I was reminded last night, I thought about this story from the ranch. See, I had a lot of cowboys that worked for me. And cowboys are not famous for their flexibility and their willingness to change, right? Cowboys tend to be pretty rigid in their thinking. But we had kind of gotten to a place where my cowboys were, I don't know, they were taking out some of their personal frustrations on my cattle. You know, they were poking and prodding them, and they were whipping and spurring them, and, you know, doing things that really were stressing my cattle out. And I had talked to them and lectured them, and educated them, and nothing was changing. So then I heard about this cow whisperer guy up in Canada, Bud Williams. I called up Bud, and I got Bud to come down and spend a day with my cowboys, right? So we started out in our sale barn. We had a little screen set up and had this video, right? And in this video, here's this picture of this landscape and this hill and a bridge. And over the top of the hill, here comes this whole bunch of cowboys, whipping and spurring, and they're trying to move these heifers, a bunch of heifers. Everybody know what a heifer is? It's like a teenage cow. And heifers are, the way they live in the world is it's like, so here come this bunch of cowboys pushing these heifers over the hill, and they're whipping and spurring, and dust is flying, and the horses are all lathered up, and the heifers are, come down and they come over the hill and they look at that bridge and they start saying, no, I want to go over the bridge. And pretty soon, you know, the heifer breaks loose and starts running off. The cowboy goes after it. And before you know it, there's heifers scattered everywhere, cowboys, everything. The whole thing goes to hell. The heifers all disappear over the top of the hill again. Cowboys disappear, and then it's just this landscape again. And you wait. A couple minutes later, here come the heifers over the hill. One more time. And here they are. They're sort of like, but they're coming over the hill, and they start coming over the hill. And then you see behind them, there's one man on foot. And it's Bud Williams. And Bud's just kind of walking along. He does a little of this every once in a while. Then he kind of walks over here and does this, you know. And the heifers are kind of like, ugh. And all of a sudden, the heifers, they see the bridge and they say, huh. And they all run across the bridge. And my cowboys are like, what? Wow, did you see that? Well, okay. Before you know it, my cowboys are all Bud Williamses, you know. Because they had seen, the change had been demonstrated. The change had been demonstrated to them. And then when we get a new cowboy, he'd be in the barn saddling up, and one of my guys invariably would walk over, spit, sidle up to the guy, put his arm around him and say, now listen, we don't whip and spur them around here, we Bud Williams them. So I'm just saying, let's do the Bud Williams deal on the built environment here in Bend. And instead of whipping and spurring it, let's just demonstrate it. And if we build it, they will come. Thank you.